How blessed are we today to come together to celebrate the Feast of the Holy Family and to contemplate upon Jesus, Mary, and Joseph and their life together, and to especially remind ourselves that they were not just paintings on a canvas or ceramic figures in a creche. They were real people who lived real lives in a real world. A family, blessed with times of great joy, but also experiencing times of great difficulty, such as told to us in the gospel today, when we hear of their sudden, unexpected journey into Egypt. Their life wasn't easy, but they had complete trust in God and His plan that is being carefully directed and revealed to them. In the gospel today, Matthew focuses particularly on two individuals, Joseph and Harrod, two men who were completely opposite in every sense of the word. Harrod, ruler of ancient Israel, was a tyrant. He was rich, he was powerful, but he always lived in fear and anxiety of losing power to anyone, even his own 3 sons. It was said by Caesar Augustus that I would rather be one of Herod's dogs than one of his sons. You see, family meant nothing to him. Now, in modern terms, he would represent hate and anger that destroys peace, love, and eventually relationships. Humanity's indifference, which prevents compassion, distraction, and busyness that removes peace and tranquility. Really, all those things of human frailty that bring darkness by moving away from the closeness to each other and to God. Then, by extreme contrast, we witness the life of Joseph, a man of humility and simplicity. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He didn't have servants. He didn't have an army. But what he did have was great trust and faith in God. He accepted his role and knew his place was to be a protector and provider for his family. The gospel tells us of the warning Joseph received in a dream by the angel of the Lord of the impending danger and that he must take the child and his mother to Egypt. Joseph does it without question, with a heart of great obedience to the will of God. His action is immediate, setting out under the cover of darkness, which in those days was a dangerous and difficult time to travel, but it demonstrated the urgency of this situation. And this would not have been an easy journey, since even the closest region of Egypt would have been over a week's journey by foot, of 150 miles to the southwest. At that time, Egypt had a large Jewish population, where those seeking asylum from political dangers would live. Although the journey was significant, it was laying the groundwork for the return from Egypt, a parallel to the Exodus story and a fulfillment of the prophecy that he will be called a Nazarene. All a part of God's divine plan of salvation. Joseph had great love for Jesus and Mary, and he becomes the patriarch of the Holy Family. So when we look at our modern world intent on destroying the fabric of the family, what can we learn from the Holy Family? What spiritual perspective and understanding can we receive from them for our own families? On a pilgrimage to Nazareth, Pope Paul VI in 1968 reflected, "Nazareth is a kind of school." He explained that there are 3 key lessons to learn from the Holy Family, and particularly from Christ's childhood. Firstly, it offered silence. We need this wonderful state of mind, the Pope said, to combat the pressures and noise of the world. He mentioned silence first because it is in silence that we are trained in prayer and develop that loving relationship with God, because He speaks to us in the silence of our heart. And our homes should be sanctuaries from the distractions of the world. Secondly, a community of love and sharing, a model of what the family should be. Beautiful for the problems it poses and the rewards it brings. This community is critical to teaching children the virtue of selfless, loving relationships with God and to each other. It begins with each family member's willingness to offer him or herself for the sake of another, which is the true definition of love. Thirdly, discipleship. To teach their children so that they will have the knowledge, wisdom, and love of Christ and help others in their journeys. As this year comes to an end and another soon begins, let us reflect on the Holy Family and how we can model our own families after them. Just a few short days ago, it was wonderful to see all our churches filled with families, our regular parishioners, and our guests who came to visit and celebrate the Nativity of the Lord. So we need to extend the invitations through all of you to ask family and friends and acquaintances to all to come back and to be a part of the family of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.